Hello and welcome to Katrinas Creations. Today is going to be a tutorial for making a simple crocheted ear warmer. So this is what it looks like. You can do this in one color or two colors or three colors, whatever you would like to do. I am going to show the technique to you of how I've changed colors without having to cut them in between the rows. And I'm also going to show you how to do this final assembly that creates this twist. So I am going to turn the camera around, tell you what supplies you will need, and we'll get started. So the supplies you will need for this, of course, is a crochet hook. I am using a J, which is also a 10, which is also a 6mm hook. And then depending on how many colors you are making your ear warmer, will determine how many different colors of yarn you'll need to have with you. This is all worsted weight acrylic, and I am using 2 skeins because of course I'm making it in 2 colors. You can do it all in one color, or you can change colors as often as you wanted. You could even do like each row a different color. But let's get started. The first thing we are going to do is create a chain loop. I'm going to move the camera down a little closer. There we go, and you're just going to loop it around, pull it up through here, insert your crochet hook and snug this. You want to have enough of a tail that you can weave it in at the end and it's not going to pop out. And to this you are going to chain 74 single chains. So here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can pause the video and come back when you hit the 74. I now have 74 chains, and I am going to move this up so you can see it closely. I am going to single crochet into the 3rd stitch from the hook. Now I know normally with single crochet it would be this chain right here, but I don't want the edges of my headband to get like tight or squishy, so I'm just giving it a little extra space. So we are going to go into that 3rd stitch from the hook and do a single crochet. And now we are going to single crochet in every stitch all the way across. You can pause the video and come back when you're ready. So I have done a single crochet all the way across, so you should have 72 single crochets plus that chain up, which is right here. So counting just the single crochets, you would have 72. So if you are doing this all in one color, your next step is going to be to chain 2, turn your work, and do single crochet all the way across, but you're going to be going into just the back loop. So if you look at this, here is your 1st stitch right here, and you can see these kind of V's on the top. This part right here is your back stitch, or your back loop. So you're going to just do a single crochet in the back loop of each stitch all the way across, and you will repeat this until you get it to the width that you want. But in my case, because I'm doing it striped, I'm going to be doing a color change at this point. So let me rip this out and show you how I do my color change. When I do my last stitch, here is my last single crochet. I'll pull it out here. I'm going to go in, this is on that foundation row. I'm going to pull up my yarn. Now instead of pulling this all the way through like this is when I add my other color. I'm just going to hold it like this, and this is the color I'm going to pull up through so that that next row doesn't have blue up here at all. It starts with the gold. And once I have it here, I just tie this in place. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same as if I was making this all in one color. I'm going to chain 2. Turn my work, and I'm going to go into the back loop, and I'm going to single crochet all the way across. Then I'm going to turn and come back. I'll be changing colors wherever you see the tail of the yarn, that's where you change the color. So in order to change, you're going to go all the way down and come all the way back up. And you can see this on here. It's actually composed of 2 rows is how you're doing it. Because otherwise you would have ends to weave in on both sides. The only ends we will have to weave in are these at the beginning. You're going to carry them all the way up. So go ahead and do this row back to the other side and back again, and then come back and I will show you how we're going to walk this yarn up the side and blend it in as we go so that you don't have any tails and we won't be cutting any yarn. I've reached the end of my first trip across with the gold yarn, so I'm just going to repeat this in case you need to see it again. We're going to chain 2, turn our work, single crochet back across in the back loops only. Alright, so I have gone all the way across and back with my gold. I'm now at the end of the row. I have one more stitch to do, and here you can see the yarn tails here. This tells me I'm back at where I started. Now if you are doing a 3 or more color, this is when you would tie the yarn on the same as we tied the gold on, but in my case I'm just doing the blue. Now here's what I do. As you can see, my blue yarn is all the way down here. My gold is all the way up here where I'm going to be doing my next row. I don't want a lot of loose yarn hanging right in between here because it's just not going to look as nice. So I do the same technique whether I am knitting or crocheting. So I can pull the tails of the yarn out of the way. Okay, so here's my 2 working strands. I'm going to be working with the blue next. I give them a twist so that they wrap around each other. Don't pull it too tight because this will make it squish in here. But I just do that so that it kind of captures the color from the row before. So just like before, I'm going to go into my last stitch. I'm going to give this yarn that little bit of a twist. Like I said, don't pull it tightly. It's just going to overlap this little bit, and then when you pull this stitch through, it actually is going to capture this gold yarn within it. And I'm going to pull my blue yarn up through. And I have now changed color, but that yarn, you can see where it's now carried up this edge here. It just gives it a neater edge. Just like I said, don't pull it too tight. You just want it to be just snug so that you don't have like a loop hanging on the end. So for the rest of this, you are going to continue this same process. Whether you're doing 2 or more colors or if you're doing a single color, you are going to do a total of 18 rows. As you can see, I have a total of 9 stripes. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we know that each of these stripes is created by going across and back. So it's going to be 18 rows. So you can pause the video, get the 18 rows done, and then I will show you how we are going to put it together with the knot in the front. So I now have finished my ear warmer. At this point I have 18 rows total, and the very last stitch, when you pull it through, leave a long tail. I've got one about a foot long right here. So Now comes the fun part where we actually make the little twisty in the front. First thing you want to do is look at your work and make sure you have the right side facing up. So here is my right side. And now you're going to fold it like this, lengthwise. We're then going to bring it together and we're going to overlap these parts. So they're going to look like this, sandwiched together. Now I'm going to use my hand so you can see a little bit better what I'm going to do. You've got the two sides like this. You're literally going to fold them together like that. So they're going to, this side is going to overlap this piece, and then the last piece is going to overlap. And then you're going to sew along this top. So I just thought the hand demonstration might make it a little clearer what we're going to do. I'm going to get my needle threaded. I'm just using a darning needle. You could do it with a crochet hook, but I just find a darning needle is the easiest. So again, right side facing up, fold it lengthwise, bring it together like this. So you can see I have it here. And now we're going to do that sandwiching like what I showed you. You open up this one, put this portion in, wrap that around it, and then fold this section over the top. You're then going to take your needle, and you want to make sure as you work your way all the way across that you are going through all 4 layers. And you're just going to do a whip stitch. So here we go through 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then I'm going to pull it all the way across. Like I said, just do a whip stitch, and just again make sure you're going through all 4 layers. And you're going to work all the way across here, and then I'll show you what you do next. When you've gone all the way across, if you still have extra yarn like I do, just go back and forth a couple more times. It just gives it a little more secureness. So basically just use up the yarn that you've got on that needle. This isn't going to show, so it doesn't need to be overly neat. It's going to be flipped inside out. Okay, so I have pulled it through this last time. I'm going to pull my needle off. And I haven't pulled it all the way through. I have a loop here. And this is what I do to tie it off. I give it a couple of twirls, and then I pull that little bit of tail through there, pull it snug, and then you can just weave in what's left of the yarn. So now it looks like this. Now you're going to flip it inside out, like this. And there you have it. You have your little crisscross in the center. This is the completed ear warmer. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. So I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you have, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing down below and click that little red subscribe button. And please join us every Saturday for our regular Saturday podcast. Thanks for watching. Bye, everybody.